Hey guys, Tom Fury Zero News. So, I've been possibly noticing something, and maybe it's a pattern, maybe this time it's a false positive on my side and I've got it wrong. But in life, just because I don't know really, there's always been a group of people around me, whether it's on a gaming site, running a podcast, there's always been a bit like this. I have ended up normally one-on-one back in those days, but helping people, whether it was, believe it or not, coming off drugs, whether it was dealing with depression or other things. For some reason I'd always end up finding myself kind of half helping these people. Not that I wouldn't say get proper medical attention, but because I always did, but nevertheless, for some reason I kept ending up in these positions. And what I found was people were quite willing to jump through hoops almost to make change. Sorry, to say quit the drug or up, and they would do a lot of work towards it, and they'd be really willing to work with you. And if they could see you were putting all that effort into them and time, they would respond to it really well. And you could some people you go a month, some people you go 3 months, but whether it took a month or 3 months, there was always one spot. And again, whether it was exercise or whatever it was, the subject that I was helping people with, because my part was only the same thing, the mind. When you got to the moment of change, when a person who was depressed, for instance, realized that they might have to reconstruct the way they live their life, and they started to realize they were doing certain things that weren't making their life any better, in fact making it worse. Just examples. And they would realize that they would need to take responsibility and accountability for certain things, and this would make their life better, but they'd not done this for a while, and it was scary. The changes they would have to make would mean that they were at the steering wheel of their life all the time. Just as one example. And there are others like it, but all of the one word that describes the fear in all of these people is change. Change is what the fear of change is what keeps a lady with a man who's beaten her. Fear of change is what keeps somebody who's desperately unhappy taking drugs, even though they know they're going to die and they know they're unhappy and they're not enjoying the drug anymore. Fear of change causes a lot of people to choose misery over change, because change is the one thing that humans are adaptable, and we kick ourselves afterwards when we do make the change. We kick ourselves and wish we'd done it earlier, but until we do it, we're actually very afraid of it. And I see we're still coming along, and it's got some really good answers, and I see a lot of people kind of almost rebelling against it. And there's multiple reasons that it could be, but one of them could be that Restore is saying some things that are looking the problems right in the face, and those problems mean hard times. Those problems mean hard choices. Those problems mean possibly taking on half the world. People like the WEF. Those problems mean some serious hardships. Those problems mean fights with Europe, possibly America. Other countries, like serious. Don't get me wrong, things that can be fixed, because treaties and all kinds of things can do that. But my point being is, right now, like serious, and anybody who's beginning to put that together, which is a lot of people, are beginning to realize what kind of change that truly means, and what this country won't be restored to Great Britain. It will be turned into a new Great Britain, which will hopefully resemble the one we had before it was taken away. And this is frightening for a lot of people, because somebody's got to sacrifice and make that change. Somebody's got to go through that change. Somebody's got to give up time for that change. Somebody's got to. And I'm not saying this is a total reason. I'm sure there's others, like the tribalistic stuff, and that I do believe that. But I also think that if you look at where Rupert Lowe's going with this, he does understand that there is a root to this, but it's pretty horrendous. And anybody that understands the argument fully may choose, as we've seen with the national strike and other things, may choose the head in the sand party, which is most of the others. And there may be another kind of psychology going on here. But the only good thing about this is survival. And that's closer to the time of an actual election. People can change their minds at the last minute out of an act of survival. Whereas now they've got time to put their heads in the sand. But yeah, you tell me if you think I'm wrong. But to me, the biggest fear that humans have as a general rule is change. And he's not offering policy change. He's offering a fundamental change that will upend this country. No two ways about it. There's no way you get to the other side of the river without getting across a white water. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of, not many people get voted in power for saying we're going to go through some terrible times, but with the realism that he's going for, that's exactly, no, there is no way around it. So are there people hiding from that? I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying it's very possible based on my interactions with people and my discussions with other people who've had those same interactions. Many of them had the same problem. When you get a person to the point of change, it's when they realise the amount of change they'd have to make, the amount of responsibility, everything else. That's normally the point where people retreat back into whatever problem you're trying to help them with. So it's just interesting. I wonder if there's a crossover. You tell me. I'm Tom Fury. This is Zero News.